All right. Hi, everyone. Well, thanks for attending. My name is Nathan McClure. I'm a PhD student here in the School of Public Health at the University of Alberta and a recipient of the Alberta SPOR Graduate Studentship. And today I'd like to talk about my research project and this health-related quality of life and what is a minimally important difference. So please enjoy. So what health-related quality of life and, health and quality of life means to you is likely different for everyone and probably also changes over our own lifetimes. So this is a subjective construct, and so should be measured as such. But how can we define health and a quality of life that allows for such measurement? Here are some quotes from a few famous persons. So health and quality of life are talked about a lot. I want to direct your attention to the last quote there from Tommy Douglas. A nation's greatness lies not in the quantities of its goods, but in the quality of its life. So this kind of idea about health and life brings us to a cyclical kind of relationship. Good health has something to do with good life, and in turn, good life brings us good health. So again, how do we define these constructs in a way that allows for measurement? Let's first start with the definition of health. Well, there are many definitions, and here are two. First is something we're all familiar with, the medical definition, or the absence of disease. The second comes from the World Health Organization and is more holistic, being a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. There's the third definition that is also well recognized, and this comes from More Health Promotion and the Ottawa Charter, and it's about wellness at both the individual and group level, being the extent to which an individual or group is able to realize aspirations and satisfy needs and to change or cope with the environment. So now that we have kind of understand these definitions of health, let's turn our attention to life. Well, life and the meaning of life has been a topic of debate and discussion throughout time for different people from different cultures. And we need to recognize this when we look at how health affects our quality of life. So when we think about quality of life, we can think of two aspects. The first is life conditions, or the circumstances of one's life. And this might be more objectively measured, but the second aspect is satisfaction with life, or the perceived value of one's own life, which might be more subjective. Together, this is the idea of quality of life. So we have to recognize that individuals make up society. So when we're thinking of a population level measure of quality of life, we're going to aggregate what the quality of life is for you or me to give this population level metric. So now, when we think about how health affects quality of life, we turn to instruments of health-related quality of life, which are also composed of two components. First, the societal value set, which is perceptions of how health affects life, and then second, the individual health state. So together, we can calculate an index score, which is the perceived value or quality of that health state. So the EQ5D, or the Your-Qual questionnaire, is one of the most popular health-related quality of life measures, and defines a health state made up of 5 dimensions: mobility, self-care, usual activities, pain, discomfort, and anxiety, depression. Each of those dimensions is composed of 5 response levels, coded 1 to 5, where 1 is no problems in the dimension, 2 slight problems, and then 5 extreme problems or unable to function. So in total, there are 3,125 health states defined by the EQ5D, which are then mapped to an index score. So how does this index score kind of fit in to our ideas of quality of life? Well, we use a metric called quality adjusted life here that captures this idea. So our preference for the health state, which is the health utility, multiplied by the duration of time spent in that health state. Here's an example response where a respondent has selected the health state 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, shown in red. And then this is mapped to an index score where 0 is dead and 1 is perfect health. So using the Canadian societal value set, we get an index score of 0.320. Now turning back to our medical definitions of disease, we can see here that we have a certain condition of diagnosis, so X, Y, and Z, and those might be mapped to an average health state. And then in turn, that health state calculates an index score. But what does this all mean? We need to really support clinicians and patients in understanding the significance of this index score. How is it meaningful to the patient? So we often rely on statistical significance to tell us the meaning behind the observed change or difference in an outcome score. But this doesn't necessarily equate with what's important to the patient, as shown by this comic. So by analogy, I want you to consider your own weight. You measure your weight and you observe a change of perhaps 1 pound or 3 pounds, or maybe 5 pounds is what's important to you. And this might depend on whether you're losing weight or gaining weight, or what your current health state is. Are you healthy or otherwise managing illness? So the minimally important difference, defined as the smallest change or difference in the index score, I think would be a useful way to support the interpretability of something like the EQ5D, Health-Related Quality of Life Index Score. Because in the end, we want to help guide patients and clinicians to understanding how quality of life and health work together. So in the end, this is an iterative process. The minimally important difference and health-related quality of life measurement represents one step in patient-centered decision-making. But of course, we need to test and further refine these methods. Thank you.